Okay, Paul has some ideas in technology. He's going with some giant names in the sector. First one, Amazon.com.
Right, so Amazon obviously has had a very difficult, 2022, like many tech companies. And I think that obviously what happened to them is that they grew so rapidly during the COVID period of time, and now they're readjusting their company to meet sort of more normalized requirements, which is meaning they laid off about 18,000 people. You've seen slower growth in AWS, but I do think that if we're going into a slower economic growth, Amazon should benefit from a wallet share business because more and more people would go substitute something like through Amazon where they get better deals on their products, right? So that's one thing. I think that they readjusting their businesses to meet kind of the new environment over the next little while. I also think the fact that they are they have this. I think one of the things people are missing is that their advertising business has become pretty incredible over the last little while. So, and it's at the expense of maybe Meta, which Meta is Amazon's advertising business is very clearly better because people know what they bought, what they've sold, when they need more of it, et cetera. So Amazon can benefit from that a great deal. And I think AWS will continue to grow. It's just that it's sort of had some growing pains, and now that I think that they can get operating margins better over the next little while. That's, I think, very important. The second thing I think is that, or the final thing I think with Amazon is that the market they brought down expectations. I think all the bad news is really in the stock, and I think there's an opportunity to buy the company here. E-commerce is not going away. Amazon is kind of a leader there, and on the logistics side as well. So I think that they will continue to do well, and I think you could buy a great business in a great, in an industry which they basically can dominate for right now, and I think it'll do very well over the next couple of years. The
next idea is Apple.
Right. So Apple also did very poorly this year. A lot of it, I think,
or last year.
Last year, sorry. Yeah. So I think people are concentrating on the wrong things. I think they're concentrating on a lot of things that are very transitory in nature. I mean, a lot of things happened because of the manufacturing side, where Apple was not, because of China's slowdown. I mean, lockdown in China, they weren't able to get a lot of their hardware products done very quickly. So, but I think what they have to concentrate on is the fact on the wearable side and the services side. The services side can really be a very large business over the next little while. I think that, there's some estimates of $126 billion by 2026. That's the service side. The wearable side can be a $70 billion business. And I think what you have to remember is if the services side does really well, the margins are much higher in that business, and also that offsets the volatility of the hardware business, right? So that's really important. And I think the other thing is that I think that they are getting into advertising, and I think that'll be helped by that. And finally, I think that they are that people are really missing the fact that this is a great business that continues to throw off tremendous amount of cash flow, and they can buy back their shares. And I don't think they can obviously buy anything anymore. None of them can buy them, but they do have new products coming out, and those product cycles will be better for them in a post-COVID world, in a pre-COVID world, right? Or in a COVID world. So I think that all those things help Apple, and I think you can pick up a great business here for the long term.
And finally, Alphabet. That's your final idea. You got the 3 A's going to.
Right. So so Alphabet. Obviously, Alphabet is, people know that it's one of the biggest search companies in the world. It is the biggest search company in the world. It's one of the biggest digital advertising companies in the world. It's trading at 18 times earnings, which is pretty much close to a market multiple as you can get. This is a company it's beat its cost of capital every year that it's been a public company. It has $50 billion in free cash flow. I think that digital advertising will continue to grow. So it's slowed down in the last couple of years, but I think they will do very, very well over the next little while at the expense of Meta. They will probably get market share from those guys. So I think Alphabet's a great business. YouTube is doing very well. I think they can monetize that even more. Let's face it, if you want to build a bathroom, you can figure out how to do it on YouTube. So you know what I mean. So it's a very interesting aspect of learning even for people, right? So I think that is really I think yes, they just came out, and the governments are going to be looking at at some antitrust with them and stuff like that. But the trouble with all that is, first of all, it takes a long time. It's not going to happen in a year. It takes years and years, number one. And number two, I think that there's lots of competition for Google, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Meta, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Snap. I mean, they may be smaller, but there's still competition. And the last thing I would say with that is that, I think it's good to bash technology companies. It's very easy to bash them these days. Mm-hmm. But having a great technology business, and I think it's shown around the world, it makes you very powerful. And I think the United States has done a great job with that. Not only that, but on biotechnology as well. And the reality is that getting rid of these businesses, destroying them, is going to be very bad for the United States in the long run, right? You really need a strong technology sector that helps you in many other ways that we don't maybe see necessarily just because we're looking at search, right? So I think that's you have to remember that China wants a strong technology sector. Europe wants a strong technology sector, and the U.S. has a strong technology sector. Degrading it is not a good thing in the long run.
Is Google really a tech company anymore, or is it just an advertising company? They don't seem to invent much anymore.
Right. So I think there's a chunky part of their business that we don't see anymore because they've sort of taken it out, and that's where they do a lot of AI and all those other things, right? But they have to bring those in. Like AI has to come into. And the funny thing about AI, people use AI every day. Like if you go to Microsoft Word today, they help you answer your emails even now, right? So we're constantly using it, but we don't notice it.
It's creeping in.
Yeah. So AI is there all the time, and I think there's a lot Google can do on that side as well. But yeah, I guess you can say it's not as techy as it used to be, perhaps, if you want to call it that way. But it's still a tech company by most standards, right?